Let's get this straight from the jump. If your idea of foreplay starts when your hands are on her thighs, you've already missed it. You're late, because real foreplay, it starts long before the lights go down. Long before the bed, the bedroom, the lingerie, the moans. Real foreplay starts in the mind. See, most people are so focused on getting into the body that they forget the body is just the surface. It's the shell. It's the skin. It's the outer layer of something way deeper. You don't unlock a woman's deepest pleasure by rushing her body. You unlock her by slowing down and tuning into her mind. Because the truth is, a woman's mind is her most powerful sex organ. Not her breasts, not her hips, not even between her legs. It's what's behind her eyes. It's how she thinks. It's how she feels about you when you're not touching her at all. That's where the magic starts. Emotional presence over physical pressure. Here's the part most men, and even some women, don't get. You can do all the right things physically, touch her the right way, say the dirty words, hit all the spots, and still leave her feeling empty. Why? Because if she doesn't feel emotionally seen, if she doesn't feel mentally stimulated, if she doesn't feel safe to be herself with you, then all your efforts are surface level. You can't force true intimacy. You invite it, and that invitation doesn't come through pressure. It comes through presence. Emotional presence says, I'm here with you, not just for you. I care about what's going on in your head as much as what's under your clothes. I don't just want to make you come, I want to make you feel connected. And when she feels that, her walls come down, her heart opens, and then her body follows. Curiosity is the new sexy. If you want to turn her on, get curious. Not just about how to touch her, but about who she is. Ask her what keeps her inspired. Ask her what pisses her off. Ask her what she's never said out loud because she thought no one would understand. And then, here's the important part, actually listen. Women are flooded every day with surface-level attention, compliments about their appearance, DM about their bodies, but what they're starving for is attentiveness, real mental engagement. They want someone who notices the change in their tone when they're tired, someone who hears what they're not saying, someone who sees the storm behind their smile when you give her that. When you connect with the real her, the one under the armor, under the conditioning, under the perfectionism, that's where the arousal begins. That's when she doesn't just feel sexy, she feels understood. And let me tell you something, feeling understood is one of the most erotic experiences a woman can have. Safety unlocks surrender. This is where we go deeper. You don't need to dominate her body to be powerful. You need to create the kind of emotional environment where she feels safe enough to surrender, because the feminine doesn't open in fear, it opens in freedom, freedom to feel, freedom to be, freedom to express without judgment. So the question isn't, how do I make her want me? It's, how do I make her feel safe enough to bring her full self into this moment? You see, real intimacy isn't about performing, it's about presence. It's not about having the perfect move. It's about having the kind of energy that says, I see you. I hold space for you. You're not just a body. I honor your being. And when you do that, she melts, not because you took her, because she chose to give herself to you. And trust me, nothing hits deeper than a woman who wants to open to you, not because you pressured her, but because she trusts you. Mental stimulation equals emotional lubrication. Let's talk about a harsh truth. A lot of people skip emotional foreplay and wonder why the sex feels mechanical. They think physical arousal equals connection. But you know what gets her body ready before you even touch her? Mental stimulation. When you speak to her passion, not just her body. When you flirt with her mind during the day, not with cheesy lines, but with intentional presence. When you share your depth, your purpose, your truth, that's what turns her on before you've even stepped through the door. That's what gets her wet without a single touch, because now you're not just physically close, you're mentally intimate. You're in her thoughts, you're in her energy, and when she's there with you in her mind, her body doesn't need convincing, it's ready, the real flex slowing it down. Look, anybody can rush to the climax. Anyone can try to fast and hard and call it passion, but you want to know what takes real confidence, what takes real skill, slowing it down, looking her in the eye, asking her what she needs. Taking your time not just with her body, but with her trust. That's the difference between sex that's just physical and sex that becomes a spiritual experience. Because when you take your time to get into her mind, you're not just turning her on, you're making her feel cherished. And that kind of feeling, that's unforgettable. That's what she remembers. That's what brings her back. Not to your bed, but to you. Every woman's mind speaks a different dialect. Some need words, some need silence. Some open through laughter, others open through trust built over time. If you really want to master foreplay, learn her language. Stop bringing the same formula to every woman like she's a puzzle you can crack with the same key. She's not a formula, she's a frequency. You don't figure her out with tactics. You feel her out with presence, patience, curiosity, respect. Because once you unlock her mind, everything else flows. That's the kind of lover you want to be. That's the kind of lover she'll never forget. Let's strip away the illusions. Modern dating culture has sold us a lie that seduction is a performance, that attraction is a game, that the key to keeping someone is strategy, timing, or having the right outfit, the right line, or the perfect jawline and follower count. But that's not seduction. That's manipulation dressed in insecurity. The truth, connection is the new seduction. In a world where everyone's pretending, performing, and posturing for love, the rarest aphrodisiac is someone who's actually present, real, tuned in. We're in an age where people are exhausted by masks. Tired of dating highlight reels and vibe checks that go nowhere. People want to be felt, heard, known. Seduction isn't how fast you can turn someone on. It's how deeply you can make someone feel safe enough to open up. Surface is overrated, soul is underrated. Let's be clear, attraction matters. Sexual energy, chemistry, physical magnetism. These things light the match, but connection is what builds the fire. Connection is what makes that desire sustainable. A person can be drop-dead gorgeous with a body sculpted like a Greek statue, but if you can't connect with their essence, the fire fades fast. Why? Because we are not skin-deep creatures. We crave more than skin, we crave soul, we crave resonance, and resonance isn't found in their jawline or your lingerie. It's found in the frequency you share. So many people are chasing seduction, not realizing what they're really hungry for is depth. We don't want to just be desired, we want to be devoured with meaning, want to be seductive, show up emotionally naked. You want to know what's really seductive, someone who doesn't flinch when it's time to go deep. Someone who doesn't run when things get uncomfortable. Someone who knows how to sit with another person's feelings without trying to fix them or flee. That's hot. That's rare. That's what separates grown intimacy from adolescent attraction. People think seduction is about mystery, being elusive, unreadable, a little cold. But let me tell you something. Emotional coldness isn't sexy. It's confusing. What's seductive? Being emotionally available in a world that's numb. Being self-aware in a world that's reactive. Being able to hold space for someone else's heart without trying to rush to the end. You want to turn someone on. Sit with them in their messy, raw truth, and don't look away. The power of being present. Let's talk about attention for a second. Do you realize how powerful it is to be fully present with someone, not multitasking, not thinking about what to say next, not subtly checking your phone or planning your next move? Just being there, fully breathing with them, listening not just to their words but to what's beneath them. In a society wired for distraction, presence is a superpower. When you're truly present with someone, you create a space where walls come down, because they feel safe to be themselves. And safety is the foundation of sexual freedom. No one opens when they feel judged, rushed, or invisible. But when someone senses your attention, when they feel felt, it does something primal and powerful. It makes them want to give you access. Not just to their body, but to their spirit. Seduction is energy, not technique. We've been fed a lie that seduction is all about what you do. What to say, how to touch, when to make the move, but the truth is, seduction isn't technique, it's energy. It's the energy you carry, the energy that says, I'm not here to impress you, I'm here to connect with you, the energy that says, I'm not here to take something from you, I'm here to meet you where you are. When your energy is grounded, clear, and authentic, People can feel it, and it's magnetic, because the world is starving for realness, for someone who isn't faking confidence or hiding behind ego, someone who shows up with openness, curiosity, and genuine interest. That's the kind of energy that people remember. That's the kind of energy that lingers after the night is over. Sexual chemistry without emotional connection is fast food intimacy, let's be real. You can have wild sex with someone and still feel empty right after. You can orgasm and still feel disconnected because the mechanics of sex don't equal intimacy. You can rub skin without touching a soul. You can share a bed without ever sharing your truth. Sex without connection is fast food. It satisfies a craving, but it leaves you hungry again an hour later. But sex that's connected, where there's emotional safety, vulnerability, curiosity, and actual care, that's the gourmet experience. That's what nourishes you for days, that's what heals people, and that's what people are craving, even the ones who don't know how to ask for it. Deep connection requires emotional maturity. Here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Most people aren't bad at seduction. They're just emotionally immature. They don't know how to hold tension without controlling it. They don't know how to listen without fixing. They don't know how to show up without their ego leading the way. You want real connection. You have to do the inner work. You have to face your own fears. You have to learn how to be emotionally responsible. You have to stop treating relationships like validation machines and start seeing them as mirrors, because true connection doesn't come from your mouth. It comes from your emotional availability. The seductive people in this world are not the most attractive. They're the most attuned. They're not the loudest. They're the most present. They're not the smoothest. They're the most authentic. What really makes you irresistible at the end of the day? Here's what makes you unforgettable. Being grounded in who you are, so you don't need someone else to complete you. Being emotionally available, so you can actually show up fully. Being curious enough to explore someone's inner world, not just their body. Being consistent, so they know they're safe with you, even when they're vulnerable. Being self-aware enough to admit when you're triggered, afraid, or unsure, without hiding behind ego. Because seduction without soul is a short game, but connection, that's where the real magic lives. That's what creates sex that makes your soul ache. That's what creates relationships that redefine what love means. You don't need to chase people. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to manipulate attraction. What you need is to become so connected to your own truth, your own peace, your own depth, that the people who are meant to feel you can't help but be drawn in. Because the most seductive thing you can ever be is yourself fully, with your guard down, with your heart open, with your energy aligned. That's where connection lives, and connection is the new seduction. Let's tell the truth here. You can have charm, you can have game, you can be sexy, rich, ripped, smooth, seductive, but if she doesn't feel safe with you emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you will never access her fully. Not the real her, not the raw, radiant, unleashed version. She might laugh with you, kiss you, even sleep with you, but she won't open, not all the way, not where it counts, because the feminine does not open in pressure. It opens in safety, not control, not dominance, safety, and this is where so many people, especially men, miss the entire point. Safety isn't about weakness, it's about strength. Let's make this clear. Creating safety doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean being soft or weak or over-accommodating. Real safety is power, it's leadership, it's emotional clarity. It's you being so solid in yourself that she knows without a doubt that she won't be shamed, abandoned, dismissed, or controlled for simply being her full self. That's what safety feels like, not nice guy energy, not I'll do anything to keep you energy, but rooted, steady, present energy. Because if she feels like she has to shrink to be with you, she won't trust you. If she feels like she has to perform to keep your attention, she won't relax. And if she senses your own emotional immaturity, she will protect herself instead of surrendering to you. And make no mistake, that surrender is the doorway to everything you're craving from her. Safety is the gateway to desire. Here's the paradox most people don't understand. The more emotionally safe a woman feels, the more sexually wild she can become. Not the other way around. You want the uninhibited version of her? The deep moans, the unfiltered expressions, the full, body pleasure that rocks her soul, that doesn't come from rushing her. It comes from earning her trust. You can't demand a woman's surrender. You can't force her heart open with compliments or sexual tension. You earn that surrender slowly, intentionally, by showing her that you're not just interested in touching her body, you're capable of holding her essence, and when she feels that, she doesn't just feel safe. She feels seen, she feels respected, she feels free, and freedom is what births the deepest intimacy. Emotional safety is sexy. Let's shift the narrative right now. Safety has been misunderstood. It's been labeled boring, predictable, or too soft. But let me tell you something, emotional safety is erotic as hell. Why? Because when someone feels safe, they relax, and when they relax, they breathe deeper, they let their guard down, they explore. They express, they expand, and nothing is sexier than a woman fully in her expression, uninhibited, grounded, and turned on by her own openness. But you can't get there unless she trusts that she's not going to be punished for being herself. That's what emotional safety means, that her tears won't scare you, that her desires won't disgust you, that her truths won't be used against her, that her past isn't your leverage or her shame. She needs to know through your energy, not just your words, that you are a safe place to land, not a battlefield to survive. Creating safety is a skill, not an accident. Let's talk practically. Creating emotional safety isn't about saying, "You're safe with me." It's about embodying the qualities that make her feel it, deeply and undeniably. Here's what that looks like. Emotional consistency. Don't be hot one day, cold the next. Don't tell her you care, and then ghost her when she shows emotion. Be reliable in your presence, your tone, your communication. Listening without fixing when she shares her pain. Don't try to solve it. Don't interrupt it. Sit with it, witness it, honor it. That's how she knows you're strong enough to handle all of her. No shaming or weaponizing her vulnerability if she opens up about a fear or a wound. Never, and I mean never, throw it back in her face later. That's not power, that's cowardice, and she'll never trust you again. Celebrate her expression. Don't control it when she gets loud, emotional, sensual, wild. Lean in. Don't shut her down. A safe man makes her feel more alive, not more contained. Take accountability if you mess up, and you will own it. Apologize with depth, not defensiveness. That humility, that's what builds unshakable trust. Creating safety is about emotional maturity, not emotional manipulation. It's about giving her the one thing the world rarely offers, a space where she doesn't have to guard her truth. Safety unlocks her spiritual erotic core. Now let's go deeper, because this is not just about emotional or physical trust, it's about energetic and spiritual trust. When a woman opens to you fully, she's not just giving you access to her body, she's opening a portal to her erotic spirit, to the part of her that's ancient, intuitive, cosmic, and divine, and she doesn't open that part of herself to someone who's just trying to get laid. She opens it to someone who is devoted to honoring her being. This is what sacred sexuality is. It's not woo, it's reality. When she feels spiritually safe, she becomes limitless. She becomes your mirror, your muse, your magic. She blossoms into something that will rewrite the way you define intimacy. But she only gets there if you make the internal commitment to become a man who can be trusted with that part of her. Masculine safety is leadership. Let's finish with this. A lot of people talk about masculine leadership like it's about dominance. Control, being alpha, that's not leadership. That's fear in a leather jacket. Real masculine leadership is internal stability. It's being emotionally grounded enough that someone can feel safe falling apart around you. It's being confident enough that someone can shine without dimming your light. It's being secure enough that her independence doesn't trigger your need to dominate. Leadership means being the container, not the controller. It means holding the space with strength and letting her pour herself into it however she needs to. And if you can lead like that, she won't just open, she'll expand, she'll explore, she'll trust, not because you made her, but because you created an emotional environment where she could. Let's be honest, everyone wants to be loved, everyone wants connection, but so few people are creating the conditions that allow it. If you want someone to open up to you emotionally, sexually, spiritually, you have to go first. You have to become the kind of person who doesn't just say "you can trust me," but lives in a way that proves it. Because when she feels safe, she doesn't have to perform, she doesn't have to protect herself, she doesn't have to hold back, she can exhale, she can blossom, and that version of her, the one that trusts, surrenders, and gives herself fully, that's the real seduction. That's the real intimacy, that's the real prize. You don't need to impress her, you need to become safe enough to receive her. Let's take a breath right now. No, really, take a breath with me. Inhale. Exhale, because everything in the modern world is screaming, rush, swipe, get it, keep it, move on, faster, hotter, louder, but in love, in intimacy, in real human connection, fast is rarely deep. And deep, deep is never fast, slow, is the real sexy. It's what most of us crave and what almost none of us were taught to honor. In a world addicted to speed, slowness is revolutionary. We are addicted to urgency. From dopamine hits on apps to sex on the first date to shallow connection masked as vibes, we confuse fast chemistry for compatibility. We mistake intensity for intimacy. We call short attention spans modern dating, but slowness is where the subtlety lives, where the soul speaks, where the connection doesn't just touch your skin, it sinks into your nervous system. And if we're honest deep down, we're not turned on by speed. We're anxious because of it. We're scared we'll miss the moment, lose the chance, fall behind. So we rush toward closeness, but in doing so, we skip the depth that makes closeness worth it. Real desire takes its time. If you want fast, performative sex, skip this. If you want transactional hookups, this isn't for you. But if you want that unforgettable intimacy, the kind that lingers in the body like a memory that's still breathing, you have to slow down. Why? Because real desire is not instant, it's cultivated. It's born from anticipation, built through presence, grown in the spaces between what you could take and what you choose to savor. Desire that lasts, desire that lights the body from the inside out, is never rushed. It unfolds. Slowness is a language of emotional intelligence. Slowness isn't just a pace, it's a language. And that language says something powerful. I'm not here to consume you. I'm not rushing because I'm afraid. I'm present enough to feel what's real. I honor your energy, not just your body. Going slow says, I'm not trying to get somewhere, I'm here with you. It's a form of emotional leadership because anyone can chase the next high. Anyone can say the right things to get you naked. But few know how to hold the moment, to let the fire build, to hold attention, to tune into the cues that say, yes, I'm ready, or no, not yet. Slowness means listening, to breathe, to body language, to silence, to emotion, and that kind of listening, that's deep seduction. The fast route often leads to shallow places. Think about it. How many times have we rushed in and missed the point, rushed to sex before trust? Rushed to what are we before even learning each other's hearts. Rushed to I love you when we hadn't even loved ourselves yet. We've become obsessed with shortcuts, but the soul doesn't do shortcuts. The heart doesn't open on demand. It opens when it feels seen, when it's been respected, when it's been witnessed without being rushed. So if you want something lasting, you need to be willing to take your time. Let things breathe, let people bloom at their own pace, let connection ripen, because depth takes time, trust takes time, surrender takes time, and anything you rush you rob of its full potential. Slow love builds real intimacy. When you go slow with someone, you're not just being respectful, you're building something sacred. You're saying, I want all of you, not just the parts that are easy to reach. I want the layers you don't reveal in the first hour, or the first date, or even the first month. And in return, they start to trust you, they start to open, they start to unfold, because they feel something rare: patience, presence, permission to be fully themselves without pressure. And that's when the real intimacy begins. That's when the walls drop. That's when the sex gets better. That's when the love gets deeper. Because now, you're not making love to the mask. You're loving the real human being behind it. Slowness is the foreplay of the soul. Let's talk about physical intimacy for a second, because this applies in the bedroom just as much as it does outside of it. Most people rush foreplay because they're disconnected from the moment. They treat it like a checklist, but foreplay, true foreplay, starts before the bedroom. It starts in the tone of your voice, in how attentively you listen. in how gently you touch without expectation, in how you look someone in the eye like you actually see them. Slowness in touch says, I'm here for the experience, not just the orgasm. I want to feel every shiver, every sigh, every shift in energy, that kind of presence. That kind of reverence, that's what makes people remember you. Not because you did something flashy, but because you felt like a safe, sensual home. And no one forgets a lover who made them feel like home. Slow is how you build erotic trust. There's a level of intimacy that only opens when both people trust that they won't be rushed, judged, or pressured. When slowness is practiced over time, it becomes a rhythm the nervous system learns to trust. And from that rhythm, a deeper eroticism emerges. It's not about just touching the body. It's about awakening the body's full intelligence, awakening the senses, awakening the inner yes, when someone knows that you're not rushing to get off, but slowing down to tune, and they stop bracing, and in that relaxed state, pleasure expands, touch becomes deeper, sound becomes more honest, connection becomes more whole, fast intimacy satisfies lust. But slow intimacy creates transformation. Choose depth over dopamine. Let's be honest, most people are chasing dopamine. A quick hit, a quick high, a fast escape from loneliness, but depth is a different hunger. It's not about stimulation, it's about soul nourishment. And to feed that part of someone, you must slow down enough to learn their emotional language, respect their timing, be with the awkward pauses without filling them. Let their walls fall organically, not on demand. You must love their nervous system into peace. You must hold space for the sacred, not just the sexy. And the ones who know this, the ones who master the art of slow love, they don't just get remembered, they become unforgettable. Final word, slowness is a love language. Slow is how the sacred shows up in the ordinary. It's how you turn a moment into magic. It's how you say, I value you too much to rush this. And that is the sexiest thing you can give another human being. Your presence, your patience, your willingness to explore every inch of their being, not just their body at the pace their soul feels safe to go. So if you're looking for something real, stop rushing to the climax, stop performing for approval, stop chasing speed, and start honoring depth, because fast can feel good for a moment, but slow changes lives.